I'm gonna stick by him. That's my man. That's how I feel right now. He's really an asshole, but as I look at the photo, I feel like that. I wonder who he talks to about racism. I just fucking thought about that because very realistically, I was gonna talk about something else, but I just thought about it and like I it's not as if I've never said white boy this or white boy that. Uh, and that's my stepfather. I can't think of a time at all. There's two things really kind of odd. One, I realized that I can't think of a time at all he's ever referenced my skin color um, at all. I mean, talking about 30 plus years or so. Um, I don't think I don't think I've ever heard him say anything about my skin color, which is kind of odd. Um, but then it also just kind of made me realize that too, where I'm like, yo, who? I mean, like the thing about my dad with him is, straight up. There's so many instances. I've had so many instances where it's like he's shocked me, how not racist he is, considering. I know how he grew up. I know where he's from and shit like that. It just doesn't seem like it. I know all these times, but at the same time, again, it's kind of like it's one of those things where, as I think about it right now, I'm like, wait a second, I can't even claim that I've never said one thing or another, but I've never heard or even had it hinted out of his mouth. It's so fucking weird. Other than the fucking the Zimmerman shit, we definitely disagreed on that. But yeah. Anyway, though, I the whole thing about this shit is I realized I don't know how to put it. I think I've said this before. Anyway, I feel like I've been treated like a white guy pretty much my entire life, and I think it's because of him, and I think it's because he never really he never made it a big deal. He never made my skin color a big deal. And, he was my father, he was my stepfather. And so I think that he made it in a sense. And like, I never really had, uh, you know, I will say this because, not all black people like that. Like, I never had a thought of like, yo, because I'm black, like, I should be treated differently. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, it kind of is the opposite in the sense of before I had met him. Realistically, what I was very much taught was that because I was black, I deserved to be taught be treated differently in the sense of respected. So in that sense, it was, that's a little odd as it is too. But then it's like him, like he could have fucked it up. He could have fucked me up big time. But I guess in a certain sense he did because, it's kind of weird, right? Because it's like, yo, basically, between him and then the rest of my family members, I didn't have like examples of men being treated differently because of their color one way or the other. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean that is like he held his own in crazy situations, yo. You know what I mean? And like, one of the things about him is like, I don't know. It's funny looking at him. I feel like you wouldn't fucking necessarily know whatever, but is that you know what I mean? Like he's commanded respect in situations that I have been like, yo, what the fuck? Like these are people who from get don't like you. You know what I mean? Like just from get, like just from looking at you, don't like you. I feel awkward being here with you. And somehow or another, you have turned this around. And the thing is, kind of, he's experienced that with me as well in the sense of that, I know that, it's what I'm saying. It's kind of weird. Like, I know that I've had situations that, like, he's never been like, the most my dad has been, he's been like, yo, the most he's been is like, yo, look, these people they have thoughts about Puerto Ricans. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, all right, and I kind of know, you know what I mean? I kind of get what it is, but like, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to get too tricky into it because it's like you can nuance it and like people take advantage of that kind of shit or whatever. But up to the way it's been, it, it's been good. But it's also, I feel like to kind of focus on me, and I think even maybe focus on him too, because I think he may be a little confused at times. Is made us kind of not necessarily always be aware of our race when interacting with other races, because it's not usually the biggest deal. Like that's not is not the priority as far as interacting as human beings. You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of weird to be saying it that like it's just but the fact is, like, I know that that's him too. You know what I mean? Like, that's me, but that's also him too. Where and he by no means let me clarify. By no means is he. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. I am fairly sure he's a Trump supporter at this point in time. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. There's a part of me that would hope that he's I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. So by no means am I trying to. Is this of what you would think of when I'm saying what I'm saying, as far as somehow or another I think that it produced this fucking thing where it's like I've been treated like a white dude for my entire life pretty much, and I think it's because somehow or another I ended up with him as my stepfather, but he never really clarified, I guess, like, not clarified, but he never made it a big deal that like I had a different skin color than him. Puerto Rican, yeah, he made it a big deal, and he didn't make it a big deal. I've made it a big deal, but it's just I think it's so fucking weird, realistically, because he's this white boy from fucking Maine. We've had the discussion. He I think he didn't see a black person until he got into the Air Force. The first he heard of one, which is somewhat ironic, I think. But the first he like kind of heard of one or some shit like that. Like, he did a book report on Roberto Clemente. So that that's that. So it's like you would think, in a certain sense, like there would be certain things that would just come out like somewhat naturally, not even harmfully. Some I would say even like me. Some things come out of me sometimes that I'm like, that's it's a ridiculous statement. I know where it came from, but it's a ridiculous statement. But it's fucking weird. I can for him it's not there. And it's also, I think it's created this weird fucking thing. Anyway, I'm doing this obviously off the fucking cuff, but the whole reason this even fucking came up is I got this comment from this motherfucker, your racism is showing, where he wrote to me, racism is racism, no matter what color your skin is. If you think you having dark pigment means you get a free pass to say things you do, then you are highly mistaken. Don't use your race as a cop out for your prejudice. And that shit, only a stupid white person could say that. That's the only thing I could say that. Because like very realistically, yes, it does. It does give me an excuse. And the reason I know that is because, I would get into it, but that's what I'm saying. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. But the reason I know that is because I have this skin color. I mean, granted, I have this skin color. He has that skin color. And we have both been in situations where we were alone together. You get what I'm saying? Like, basically, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, I know it does. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know it does. It's just, it's ridiculous to, I just got lost in this shit just more than anything, because I actually now, as I'm saying it, I understand. This is the whole thing too. It's also, I mean, granted, I lived in Kansas and a whole bunch of shit too. So it's like, I get this white boy mentality of why this person would believe. They seriously would believe, no matter what your color your skin is, racism is racism. And it's because they got taught that shit, and they don't live it. Like, they've never lived the racism. So it's kind of like one of those things, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess that's where I was at with my stepfather, realizing that shit too, where it's like he's lived racism. You know what I mean? Like, he's lived it. I've lived it. And yeah, you know, I think this one, if anything, is an example of what it is. I'm forced to. I'm forced to have to deal with it. I'm forced to have to talk about it. Where he's not, and I guess that's one of those things. But in the sense of as far as people and shit, the fact is, I know for a fact there's lots of people that have never faced racism the way he has. He actually has faced people discriminated and prejudiced against him based purely on just his existence, not anything at all, knowing anything about him. And I know that he knows that I've also have faced that, uh, in situations where he's been in. It's just that, I guess the only difference is that, like, I guess maybe he's also a baby because he was in the Air Force. Although I guess, like, I don't know if he ever did any, like, I mean, as far as I know, they did like combat training and shit like that out in the desert. Um, but I don't know if he had any situations with anybody of color, because everybody I know, like, he doesn't have any friends as it is, but they have been white boys. So I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but it's almost like, I feel like it's almost like he, like, looking back on it, it's almost like we were in a war together, and yeah, it's like I don't, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The whole fucking race thing has always been fucking this thing because it's like this weird thing where I'm like mad proud. I'm very very proud to be black. I'm very proud to be Puerto Rican. Um, it's something that I do think is important to be recognized and understood. And I think that's just it. You know what I mean? Because I guess to me, yeah, that's what I'm saying. People make these things so complicated. When it comes to white people, it's easier to understand and recognize it because it's all over. It's all over the fucking place. It's even like with this person's fucking comment. Like, what people don't fucking understand is that's a white person saying that comment because he was taught that by a white person. That in itself is so fucking racist that it's like it almost blows my fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fucking ridiculous. That's a white person trying to tell me, a black person in this fucking country, that I'm saying that I'm being fucking racist. Like, it just doesn't. It doesn't. That's how deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't even have the understanding of who I am and my culture enough to understand how racist he's being. Like, that's how racist it is. Like, he doesn't understand who I am as a Puerto Rican, who I am, what it's like, my culture, all this other shit. Basically, all the things that the general public tends to know about white people, he doesn't have any of that. And without having any of that, he doesn't really have the ability to know or understand what racism is to me. What racism is to me. Like, he can understand it to him and what's been taught to him and maybe what he's experienced. But if as a white boy he hasn't experienced it, then he has no fucking idea. Like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's literally not qualified at all to talk about it. So it is that's why it fucking frustrates me because realistically, all this time I talked, I didn't have to talk, and that's one of those fucking things. I didn't have to talk. Like, that's how fucking simple this shit is. Um, whatever. Anyway, maybe I do want to fucking redo this at some point in time and maybe try to make it concise because there are, the fact is between me, him and me, my stepfather and me, we have experienced something extremely unique, and this country, more people in this country need to fucking hear it and understand it, because yeah, it would just be better. You know what I mean? Like, this is somebody who I at the very least, while for a very long time in my life, our situation's a little different now, but race wasn't an issue, and when I think about it, it's just like if you look at him, it just wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, not any more than anybody else made it, and even then it was minimized, and so, like, it's just I guess more people would probably benefit from kind of understanding how we did that, including myself, because it's kind of weird. Like, we weren't fucking thinking about it. That's what I'm saying. But it is fucking it's this weird fucking thing in this fucking country at the very least. Anyway.